Hey guys, welcome to the 48th C programming tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be looking at some character functions. And these character functions are located in a file called ctype.h. So in order to use these character functions, we're first going to have to include that file at the top right here. So just go up to the top of your file and write pound include, and then inside of angle brackets you're just going to want to type ctype.h. And remember that we put these in angle brackets because ctype.h is part of the standard library. It comes with C. So we can go ahead and surround it with angle brackets. Alright, so now that you have this written out at the top, you can go ahead and use all the character functions that I'm going to be teaching you. And the first character function that we're going to be looking at is called isALNum. So isALNum. And this function just takes one parameter, and that is a character. So we're just going to go ahead and pass through some character right here. I'll go ahead and pass through a g, a lowercase g. And this function is basically just going to determine whether or not the character that we pass through is a letter or if it's a number. And this function is going to return a 0 if the character that we pass through is not a letter or a number. So if we were to pass through an ampersand right here, we'd get a 0. But since we're passing through a lowercase g, we're going to get a number that is not 0. So let's just go ahead and print out onto the screen whatever this function returns right here. So we're just going to go ahead and print out %i and end the line since we're printing out an integer, and then we just want to print out whatever this function returns right here. And remember, this function is going to return a non-zero number since the character that we passed through is a letter. Alright, so if we run this, we should get a non-zero number. Yep, perfect. And if I were to pass through a number like 5, then I should also get a non-zero number. Yep, perfect. But if I were to pass through some symbol like the $sign and run this, then I'm obviously going to get a 0. Or if I were to pass through like an escape character like the new line character and run this, I'm going to get a 0 as well. Perfect. Alright, the next function that we're going to be looking at is just called isAlpha. And this basically just stands for is the character part of the alphabet, so is the character a letter. So if we pass through some letter like an E, then we're going to get a non-zero number out onto the screen. So I run this and you see we get a 2, non-zero. If I pass through anything that's not a letter, so a number, if I pass this through I'm going to get a 0. Or if I were to pass through some symbol like the @ symbol, I should get a 0 as well. Yep, perfect. Alright, the next function is just called isDigit. This also takes one character as a parameter, and we just simply pass through a character, and this function will tell us whether or not the character that we passed through is a decimal digit. So if I just go ahead and pass through a 5, we should get a non-zero number since 5 is obviously a decimal digit. So I run this and we get 1, non-zero number. And if I were to pass through anything that's not a decimal digit, so an H, just an H, and run this, I should get 0. Or if I were to pass through just any random symbol like a caret and run this, I should also get a 0. Alright, then the next function that we're going to be looking at is called isXDigit. And this function will basically return a non-zero number if we pass through something that is a hexadecimal digit. So we can pass through a number or the letters A through F, and case doesn't matter. So if we were to pass through a capital F and run this, then we should get a non-zero number since F is a hexadecimal digit. So as you can see, I get 128, which obviously isn't 0. And if I were to pass through a number like a 4 and run this, I should also get a non-zero number. Yep, 128 again. But if I were to pass through a character that is not a hexadecimal digit like a Y and run this, I should get a 0. Yep, perfect. Alright, and the next two functions that we're going to be looking at go hand in hand. They're called isLower and isUpper. And we're going to be looking at isLower first. And this function just takes one character as a parameter. It will return a non-zero number if we pass through a lowercase letter. So if I were to pass through a lowercase u right here and run this, I should get a non-zero number since this u is obviously lowercase. Run this, 2, not 0. If I were to pass through an uppercase letter though, like a capital D, and run this, I should get 0 because this D is obviously uppercase. I run this and I get 0. Perfect. But if I were to pass through a symbol or a number, I would also get non-zero. So if I pass through the pound symbol and run this, I should get a 0 onto the screen. Perfect. Alright, and the next function is just called isUpper, and this does the exact opposite. It will return non-zero if the character that we pass through is capital. So if I pass through a capital E right here and run this, I should get a non-zero number. Perfect. And if I pass through anything that's not a capital letter, like a lowercase c, and run this, I should get a 0. Perfect. Alright. The next function that we're going to be looking at is called toLower. And this function takes a single character as a parameter and then converts that character to lowercase. So if I were to call the function toLower right here and pass through, we'll say, a capital D, and if I wanted to print this out as a character, I just change this to a C right here, and run this, I should get a lowercase d onto my screen. Yep, perfect. So it basically just converted this capital D into a lowercase d. But if I were to pass through a character that is already lowercase, all that it's going to do is just leave it. It's not going to change it at all. So when I run this, I should just get a lowercase I out onto my screen. Perfect. And if I were to pass through some random symbol like a modulus and run this, I should just get this modulus back out onto the screen. Yep, perfect. Alright, and the next function is the exact opposite. It's called toUpper, and this function will just simply convert a lowercase letter into a capital letter. So if I go ahead and pass through a lowercase f and run this, I should just get a capital F out onto my screen. Perfect. And if I were to pass through a number or any character that is not a letter, it just won't touch it. So if I pass through a 3 and run this, I should just get that 3 right back out. Yep, perfect. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're going to continue looking at character functions since there are more. Alright, so see you guys.